The Brave and the Bold was a DC comic series from 1955 to 1983. Like a lot of comics of the 50s and early 60s, it usually had a variety of stories rather than a single main character. Several of DC's regular characters made their first appearances in it. As far as I've been able to discover, Aquaman never appeared in The Brave and the Bold, so it has nothing to do with today's story. It's just a nice little callback.
A sleek, silvery submarine glides silently to a stop within sight of the domed city of Atlantis.
Atlantis, jewel of the sea, at last your riches shall be mine. For now I, the Brain,
The Brain. He has not aged well.
have the means with which to deal with Aquaman.
There's something Aquaman hasn't heard before. Everybody's got an anti-Aquaman machine. What's this one?
Now, lower the sonic brainwave tube.
He has a big tube that blinks and goes beep beep. Does it do anything else?
Alerted to the strange submarine by his underwater detection system, Aquaman, king of the seven seas, streaks.
First, he still has his clothes on, so he's not streaking. Second, streaking didn't become a thing until several years after this.
To investigate with his young friend Aqualad and Tusky the Walrus.
Third, he might want to do his streaking in a different direction. Aquaman's whole body is mushy enough that those missiles didn't recognize him as a hard triggering surface. That ship seems to have an endless supply of missiles, but Aquaman has an endless supply of allies to help him deal with them. Okay, that's clever. Just when it looks like we're going for the basic low-hanging fruit, Filmation pulls out a scene like that. It's one of the things that kept kids watching. Our narrator tries to call them fish, but we know dolphins and whales are both mammals, so I cut that line to save him the embarrassment. Then I told you about it to embarrass him anyway. The weird part about all this is, he showed up all excited about that sonic brainwave thing, but he's only just getting around to using it.
Maximum frequency.
Ever wonder what becomes of Santa's elves when they get too old to make toys?
Aquaman, what is that?
That would be what we call a generated tone. If you turned your TV on after about 2 a.m., you'd see a test pattern on the screen and the sound would be making that noise. TV and radio people use them to track down problems in the equipment. I think it's telling Brain it's not awake yet.
My sonic brainwash is working perfectly.
In fact, it's working too perfectly. They'll get Storm, Imp, and Tusky away from that thing.
All the sea creatures will no longer respond to Aquaman's commands. Now he is helpless.
They're his most powerful resource, that's true, but he's far from helpless. He still has Aqualad and Okay, you're right, he's helpless.
Go out and destroy him.
Move, Aqualad, fast!
How do you know you've hit rock bottom? You're willing to go out into the open ocean with nothing but a bubblehead helmet and a ray gun. At the very least, those guys need to go on strike for better equipment.
Wow! 3 strikes!
Color me corrected, they were useful. And this is Aquaman being helpless, Brain. This guy seems to have been created for the cartoon series. He'll be back multiple times, so maybe we'll learn more about him then.
Aquaman! Storm! Get Aquaman! I'll take care of that ambusher.
Take Aqualad. Bring him to me.
We had another of those harsh cuts that I've been talking about. Why didn't we see the beam hit Aquaman? The Oompa Loompa fires and Aquaman is already down. I think from now on I'm going to let those go. We know they exist, we've learned to watch for them, so I'll leave it at that.
Good boy, Storm. Tusky, what's happened to Aqualad? They've taken him off, huh?
Today he can understand what Tusky is saying. A couple of episodes ago he couldn't. Are we calling that character development?
A little more of this brainwave treatment and Aqualad will be ready to destroy Aquaman for me.
You may have noticed we don't say kill in these shows. It's destroy or eliminate or some similar euphemism. That was deliberate. Saying you're going to kill the hero is too harsh for young ears. So instead we say we're going to exterminate him, and kids picture the bad guy chasing the hero around with a can of Raid. His tube can't contain all the creatures of the seven seas, so Aquaman still has plenty of help to call on.
Aquaman and an army of sea creatures approaching, Master. Shall I activate the sonic brainwave tube? No. Watch how Aqualad does his friend in for me.
Aquaman is delighted to see that his pal has escaped. At least he was delighted.
I gave him superhuman strength. You see? He's more than a match for Aquaman now.
Maybe. Aquaman also has superhuman strength, and he's a lot bigger and more experienced than Aqualad is. I don't see this going the way Brain thinks it's going to.
Great waves. He's been brainwashed. Gotta stop him. Come on, Tadpole, snap out of it.
I'll fix you for good.
Aqualad, stop.
It's not laundry day, so turn off the spin cycle.
For a minnow, you packed the wallop of a mule.
Aquaman, what am I doing here?
Everybody knows the way to eliminate brainwashing is a good solid knock on the head. That's just basic science. Now the question is, does Aqualad still have the superhuman strength? If they both have it now, that could really come in handy in the future.
Never mind that now. Let's go get him.
Right, Aquaman! Get who?
The brat recovered.
Next time, put one of those helmets on him before you send him out.
Set sights and elevations. Stand by to fire on the city.
Why? Best anybody can tell is just pure spite. If there's a plot hole in these stories, that's it. Everybody wants to destroy Atlantis, but almost nobody says why. As far as we know, those people are just there, living their lives in peace, going about the usual human tasks, maybe doing some science. The city is just there and it's not bothering anybody. Yet every villain in the universe wants to blow it up. I'd suggest they reinforce that dome with vibranium, but they're in the wrong universe for that.
Quick, turn on the brainwave. Fire everything we've got.
He's already seen how useless those missiles are, but other than his brainwasher, they're all he has. This guy is supposed to have a superhuman intellect, but I have a feeling when he was memorizing the dictionary, he quit before he got to the word retreat. Aquaman says, the fish can take care of the missiles. Let's go after that brainwave thing. He knows just what to do with it. The best thing to do with it is show it what the inside of a sandwich feels like.
Who commanded that submarine, Aqualad?
He called himself the Brain.
It just goes to prove you can have a brain and still not be very smart.
Surface dwellers do it all the time. In fact, we like to seek out the dumbest big brains we can find and appoint them to rule over us. The brain's massive neuron structure absorbed most of the explosion, so he was able to survive it. When he realized what was happening, he grabbed a bunch of his henchmen and piled them around himself and made a poor man's Gimli for it. It didn't work. They saw what he was doing and scrambled out the missile tubes. The last time anybody saw them, they were applying for unemployment based on their previous job going kaboom. It set a legal precedent in their state. Turned on your... We see the beam hit hack... A couple of episodes... That's just basic science. The last time anybody saw them, they were... Don't rush.